Hey guys, what is going on? This is your old pal CHH. So today's video is going to be a fun, chill one. I got a message maybe 4 or 5 days ago, and somebody had sent me a picture rather of them picking up Diary of the Dead. They got the Steelbook release, which is right here, and they had just left me a comment saying, "Hey, I kind of got into physical media a few months ago. I'm a big horror fan, and you inspired me to get back into the Romero movies." And I swear, like, growing sub counts is fun. Getting ad revenue from YouTube after a while is fun. But I swear to God, like, nothing makes me feel better than when I hear stuff like that. Romero being my favorite director. And one of these days, and probably sooner rather than later, now that I'm saying this, I'm going to write down, I want to do a video going over Romero movies just on Blu-ray and 4K and things like that, so I can talk about Monkey Shines, so I can talk about, his Season of the Witch, so I can talk about The Crazies, so I can talk about The Dark Half, so I can talk about those movies, which, let's do that very soon. Let's do kind of like a director profile on Blu-ray sort of thing. But what I wanted to do when I got that comment was go over the releases I have of the Romero Dead films on Blu-ray and 4K, a high-def version. And if you guys enjoy this, I'd be glad to go back and do a follow-up and do a DVD version, because I do have cool versions of that. We have looked at some already, like the Dawn of the Dead DVD 3 or 4 disc set and things like that. And I just did a video on the Day of the Dead. I talked about the circumstances with a negative for Day of the Dead, but I also showed off the amazing Anchor Bay, which, by the way, guys, Anchor Bay sent me their new titles. We're going to be talking about that very soon. If that already hasn't come out, because I filmed stuff in batch, so I don't know. But let's do this, guys. Let's go through the movies. I'll show you what I have, and I'll talk about some other ones that may be out there that I don't have that are prominent releases. So with that being said, guys, let's start, of course, with the original. So this right here is, with Night of the Living Dead being a public domain movie, I guess you could call it, you could get literally, I think, 20 or 30 versions of this on Blu-ray. But if you want to get, like, a great release, just a superb release, the Criterion version right here is sensational. The movie, when you watch this version compared to other versions, it's literally night and day. This was done by, like, the Film Preservation Society doing the restoration of this, I believe. And it really transforms the movie, and you see it in a way that you haven't before. And I got to admit, the artwork that they did for this is actually really good. So good, in fact, that when they did the 4K version, they didn't change anything about it. There's a ton of features on here. Ton of features. And if you're a 4K person, the jump from that Blu-ray version to this isn't necessarily that much more noticeable. Maybe just a shred. But I had to get this on 4K just to show support for my love of this movie. But yeah, the Criterion release is great. It's like, I don't know, maybe some people could think that Night of the Living Dead could have suited better on a different label. And maybe so. Like, I could see Arrow doing it. I could see, But Criterion got it, and I do think it's a movie that is so historically important, as well as just being a great movie. I don't like Night of the Living Dead for some legacy reason, or it's respected classic. I still think it's just a great movie. So there's that. There's the 2 Criterion releases, but I want to show you guys this release I have. This is a very gaudy release, but I love it. I did a full video review on this. This was the German big box release of Night of the Living Dead. As you can see, it looks like a book. But the thing of prominence in here is the Steelbook, which I'll show you guys. The Steelbook is insane looking. Look at the artwork on this. Yeah, that looks so good, right? On the back, it even says "They're coming to get you, Barbara." Just great. Now, this is the same restoration and all from the Criterion release, of course. But this is a 3-disc set with a ton of features. There's so many interviews, archival stuff on here that if you were to watch everything on these releases, you would look different when it was done. Like, there's just so much stuff. But what's so cool about this release is all the extras it comes with. Like, for instance, like, this is classic. They give you a poster of Night of the Living Dead. And it's actually a pretty big size. Look at this. Yeah, that's actually a decent size poster right there. I think that's probably like a 16 by 24. Yeah. But yeah, just an amazing release. I love it so much. Like I said, if you want to see a complete breakdown of that, I did a video on this. But yeah, this is great. I got this from Orbit DVD, by the way. And they kind of pop up in stock and in inventory in there. So if you're interested in something like this, like I am, just like something super premium, check Orbit. So that's really cool. All right, guys, so next up, somewhat of the elephant in the room already, we're talking about Dawn of the Dead. So in terms of Blu-ray, there's one option you can have, as far as I know, and that is this right here. And there actually may be some stuff way overseas, maybe like some kind of French stuff, but in terms of restoration and stuff like that, I'm not sure. There is some off-the-wall releases that are probably expensive to import. But of prominence, you gotta go to Second Sight. This is their second release, and this was considered their standard release for Dawn of the Dead. I know they did a Blu-ray version of this and a 4K version of this. This is actually the Blu-ray version. And in terms of what it comes with, disc-wise, you're still getting everything that the other one does, I believe, besides like the CD and all the extras. But this does include the Dario Argento cut, the extended cut, the theatrical cut, the Cons cut, that sort of thing. And the special features disc comes on here. So I just think the problem with this is people have seen the Forbidden Fruit version, the version that came out, was a smash success. Beyond words, a smash success. And now it's just impossible to get your hands on, and this one's still available, and this is still really good. This is still like a collector's edition. Now the problem with this is in fact region locked on Blu-ray. So there is the 4K version of that. So if you get 4K, you're fine. Obviously in America, with 4K being a region-free format. But this is the Forbidden Fruit version. And I was very, very lucky to be able to get my hands on this. A viewer of the channel helped make this a reality for me overseas. But this was it. We'll just kind of slide this off to get a look at it. This is and this has become a design that Arrow Video has really gone for too. Is that sliding top? Now you've got your cases, of course, for the movies in here. But this one has, God, multiple discs for the soundtrack. Jesus, that is insane. And what else do we have in here? Let's see. Okay, this was the movie case like the other one has. But then there is this is this is a novel like of the movie. Look at that. Yeah, this is really cool. I mean, this release is like all that and a bag of chips. I can't deny it. And then the book that it comes with, Dissecting the Dead, was a hardback book for Dawn of the Dead. Just remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Look at all the pictures of the foreign posters and everything. Zombie, man. Which is why overseas it was called Zombie 2 Flesh Eaters when it came out. Because they called Dawn of the Dead Zombie overseas. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Oh, and I'm going to superimpose this right now. I have a gorgeous German steelbook of Dawn of the Dead as well. That is so cool. That was also sent to me a while back by a viewer. That's something that's super hard to get your hands on now. And there were multiple releases on Blu-ray that came out for a little while, and they were mega, mega limited. They would show up, and by the time you found out about them, they were already gone. That sort of thing. So that's what we have for Dawn of the Dead. If you're a 4K person, go get the Second Sight standard box version. It stayed in print, and you still get hours of... You get great special features, and of course you get the Argento cut and things like that, which the Argento cut's my favorite cut of the movie. So, next up, guys, I just did a big video on this a while back, like I said, talking about Day of the Dead and talking about the circumstances with the elements of that movie. Long story short, if you did not see that video, I said that Scream Factory used an interpositive to do their Blu-ray, which it's close to the negative. It's obviously not the negative, but I thought that Scream Factory did a great job on that Blu-ray. The movie also had an overseas release from Umbrella on Blu-ray, which I believe probably used the exact same transfer. But the issue now is people want a 4K of that movie, and rightfully so, because it's some people consider that to be the greatest Romero movie, and it's hard to argue it. I don't agree, but I also don't want to argue it at all, because I'm just glad people are talking about these movies still. But now they can't even find the inner positive, which is what I was told from Cliff McMillan, the gentleman who created Scream Factory. But so I saw a comment on that video saying, no, they found it. And I'm just like, why is this not public knowledge? What do you mean they found it? And who's they? Tell me, please, spill the beans. Whatever you know, if you're watching this, please tell us. But you never know. You never know. Hopefully that's the case, though. But in terms of Blu-ray, thank God Scream Factory has kept up the license and kept this in print. This is a great release, and honestly, if we never get anything else after this, this is simply a great release, and I can be happy about that. I really can. So I love this release of Day of the Dead. It's a great one, and I wish I had gotten the Blu-ray initially so I can have even the slip and all with this. But I have the DVD version of this with the slip from Scream Factory, because Scream Factory is still doing their movies as collector's editions on DVD at that time as well. They stopped that a little while after that. But this is another great release too, the Day of the Dead Umbrella Blu-ray. And this one does have reversible art, but it's not as good as the theatrical poster. I think it's this right here. Not bad. They did a better job on their Night of the Living Dead 1990 one. That one had cooler art, but this one's cool. Good release. So either one of these are fine. Me personally, I'd say go with the Scream Factory release, but there you have it for Day of the Dead. I mean, hopefully I'll be able to update this video. We'll see, guys. You never know where these elements and things are. We unfortunately we just don't know. We don't know. Next up, in terms of high definition from Land of the Dead, I hope you're a Scream Factory fan, but they did do a Blu-ray release for Land of the Dead. Now, this was a 2K from the internegative for Land of the Dead. This was not a very, very impressive looking Blu-ray. With that being said, though, I mean, it's still a very high definition release, but nothing to write home about. This came out during a time where it was around 2016, 2017, I believe. I think this was 2017. So really, in essence, at that point, like, I think I fall in line with the general consensus the way I was thinking about these things. Just high definition at that point was still a big thing. This was still at a time where just getting certain movies like this on a high definition release was cool. Even though this already had a Blu-ray release, just a standard Blu-ray release, I think, this didn't jump the picture quality level that much. It was more so to have it as a boutique label release. That was like a thing at the time where it's just like, oh yeah, that's a Scream Factory movie now. That's awesome. But this is good. But the magic is this. If you're a 4K person, guys, I just still feel like people sleep on this because they think it's going to look like crap. And man, the 4K of Land of the Dead was a phenomenal 4K. It looked so good. Please check out my review of this. And I enjoy this movie. It's not perfect by any stretch, and you can tell that it feels like a Romero film so much, don't get me wrong, but there is also this kind of a bigger feel to it that you can tell probably is a little bit of studio interference in some ways. Not necessarily bad, though, right? Like, I don't know, like, I think there were some really great moments in Land of the Dead, and the story works pretty good, and I think time has been pretty good to Land of the Dead, but I don't know, it's just, whenever I get to talking about these latter Living Dead films, whatever way I kind of go, I feel like the wind blows the other way in my direction in the comments section. Land of the Dead is not a great movie, but it's not a bad movie at all, especially in the zombie world. Like, there's a lot of bad zombie films, and there's some hidden gems, and I think Land of the Dead is like, it's getting its due a little bit now. So this 4K was great, and there was still new features on this compared to the Land of the Dead Scream Factory Blu-ray. So that was good. So yeah, I reviewed this in detail if you want to check it out, but man, go for this. Go for the 4K if you can, if you're a 4K person. Next up, guys, this is cool. So, I'm a big Diary of the Dead fan. When it comes to the latter half of the Living Dead films, I'm in a minority, I feel, where more people will say, well, out of the latter ones, yeah, I'll take Land for sure. Me personally, I like Diary, and here is the Dimension Extreme Blu-ray. Now, this was like this is another video we have to do, is a video going over Dimension Extreme titles. Like, there were some great movies that Dimension Extreme put out, and some cool foreign stuff, and some weird stuff like the Ventriloquist that I need to talk about one day. There's some wild stuff out there. But, yeah, the Dimension Extreme label, it's just cool to see it under that umbrella, because I have a lot of nostalgic thoughts and memories for that, the Dimension Extreme label, and it's no longer a thing, I don't think. With Dimension, it's weird. I don't really know who owns Dimension. It was like a Miramax thing, and then it became... I don't know. Then the Weinsteins separated from Miramax, and then the Weinsteins had movies that were still under the Dimension label. I'm going to have to go to DimensionExtreme.com and see. I need to know who owns Dimension. But, listen, in terms of price, you can get this Blu-ray still to this very day, guys. You can get it very cheap. If you haven't seen this, it's a good found footage movie, and it's a Romero movie on top of that. And the funny thing is, on the special features of this, you'll see Michael Felcher on set, the guy who was obviously we all know from late as working on the Trick or Treat 4K and all that, and the guy that does a lot of the special feature stuff for the Vestron stuff. And Michael Felcher was in the special features of Friday the 13th Part 5, which is so funny. But this came out recently, and I think it's technically out of print, but also not really. I think you still probably find these at some Walmarts in the bigger metropolitan areas, like the bigger city areas. And that was this, and this blew me away, the fact that they did a steelbook for Diary of the Dead this year. I gladly reviewed it. I happily reviewed it, right? Because it's just so off the wall to me to think that Diary of the Dead got a cool steelbook. But, I mean, in terms of what it offers, nothing new except just it's cool looking. I mean, are you kidding me? It's a steelbook for Diary of the Dead. So, yeah, that's cool, and I like that sort of thing. So, hopefully they do this even if they did one for Land, if it was a budget steal, I'd probably be into it. But, last but kind of least, but I really want to kind of leave this off on a good note. The cool thing about this is Survival of the Living Dead. This was under the Magnet umbrella, not the Dimension Extreme umbrella. It's hard for me to say good things about Survival, but I will say is I like this lenticular slip Blu-ray I have for it. Yeah, the lenticular slip Blu-ray is cool. Now, where did I get this? I got this at a used DVD store, and I got it for $7.95. To be honest with you, I need to revisit Survival of the Living Dead. It's been probably 4 or 5 years since I have watched it. It's like funny. I'll revisit Diary once every 2 years or so. So I'll probably skip Diary this coming year. I say that. Watch me end up watching it like 4 times. But Survival, I always say, I'll get to it soon, or I'll watch it in a couple days. I need a break. And then I never watch it. But I'm pretty sure this was George's last film. I think he was going to do Twilight of the Living Dead. Or Twilight of the Dead. As a matter of fact, I found a clip of Jerry Only from the Misfits at the time saying he was working on a song for the movie. And apparently the script and everything, the wife of George Romero still wants to make it happen. I hear it's still going to happen. I hope it does. I'd love to see it. But, I don't know. I look at this and it's just, I can't hate Survival of the Dead, but I also can't say it's a great movie. But I can say that this lenticular slip is awesome. So if you want this, this was under, like I said, under the Magnet label, which I've got some cool movies under the Magnet label that I'd like to talk about soon one day. But this is the Ultimate Undead version, guys. So there you have it. Yeah. Love you, Georgie. I'll have to revisit this one again. It's just not very great. But guys, that is the high-def releases of Romero's Living Dead films that I own. If you have any really cool ones that you know about, please drop it in the comments below. Let me know. Tell me what they are, what region they're from, or country, that sort of thing. And I'd love to beef up my collection if there's even some really cool ones, especially for like Land of the Dead or anything like that, that's probably a little bit more feasible and cheaper to get. I just love that sort of stuff. But I hope you guys enjoy this. If you're new into the world of horror physical media and you're new into the world of just horror, you know, I was not very long ago. I got into this big time around 2009, and you know, it's a beautiful, fun journey getting into these legendary films. I mean, they become a part of your DNA, especially the Romero Living Dead films. They're just, you can't talk about horror in the history of it without talking about some of these movies. So thank you guys for watching this. I'm just missing Romero today. I'm missing him, Gal. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.